If you feel lost in your late teens or early 20s, that does not mean you are behind. Most people who look like they have a perfect plan are guessing more than they admit. You do not need to have your entire life figured out. But there are a few early decisions that can quietly make your 20s a lot easier. Not easy, easier. So, here are the 7 things I would do in my teens or early 20s to get ahead of the crowd without pretending I had my whole life figured out. Because adulthood gets expensive fast. Rent, transportation, insurance, food, healthcare, student loans, moving costs, car repairs, weddings, kids, emergencies. A lot of normal things start asking for money at the same time. So, the goal when you are young is not to become rich overnight. The goal is to avoid starting adult life already trapped, and the first thing I would do is get real work experience as early as I reasonably could. That does not mean working so much that your grades fall apart, taking a job that is unsafe, or ignoring labor rules if you are under 18. The Department of Labor has limits for younger workers, especially ages 14 and 15, and states can have their own rules too. But if you can work a reasonable part-time job in high school, during the summer, or early in college, it can be more valuable than it looks. The paycheck matters, but the paycheck is not the whole point. Your first job teaches you how work actually feels. Showing up when you do not feel like it, talking to customers, dealing with a manager, being useful on a team, learning that some jobs are boring, some are stressful, and some people are difficult, no matter where you work. That sounds basic, but these are bedrock skills. The Bureau of Labor Statistics says teen workers are often concentrated in jobs like food service, cashier work, retail, customer service, stock work, and childcare. Those jobs may not be glamorous, but they teach real skills: communication, reliability, handling pressure, and not panicking when something goes wrong. They also teach taste. You might learn that you hate standing all day. You might learn that you are surprisingly good with customers. You might learn that you like organizing things or fixing things or solving problems, or that you never want to work in a restaurant again. That information is useful before you choose a career. The second thing I would do is choose education with math, not just hope. This is where a lot of people get stuck because the conversation usually turns into either college is always worth it or college is a scam. Both are too simple. The Bureau of Labor Statistics still shows that, in general, more education is connected with higher earnings and lower unemployment. In 2024, workers aged 25 and over with less than a high school diploma had a 6.2% unemployment rate and median weekly earnings of $738. That does not mean every degree is worth any price. It means education can be powerful, but only if the cost and the outcome make sense. So, if I were 18 again, I would not just ask, what do I want to major in? I would ask, what jobs does this usually lead to? What do those jobs pay? Is the field growing? How much debt would I need? How many people actually finish this program? And can I tolerate the day-to-day work? That last question matters. A career can have a great salary on paper and still be a terrible fit if you hate the work, hate the schedule, or cannot imagine doing it for years. But salary and job demand matter too, because student loans do not care that your major was meaningful. For example, BLS data says software developers, quality assurance analysts, and testers had median pay around $131,000 in 2024, with projected employment growth of 15% from 2024 to 2034. Registered nurses had median pay around $93,600, with projected growth of 5%. Financial analysts were around $101,900, with projected growth of 6%. Electrical and electronics engineers were around $118,800, with projected growth of 7%. And not every good path requires a 4-year degree. Electricians had median pay around $62,300, projected growth of 9%, and many learned through apprenticeships. Those are not the only good careers. They are examples of how different paths have different costs, payoffs, and risks. It is not about worshiping college, dismissing trades, or pretending passion does not matter. The mistake is choosing without checking the numbers. The third thing I would do is keep fixed costs low for as long as possible. This might sound boring, but it is one of the most powerful moves you can make early on. A fixed cost is a bill you have to pay every month whether life is going well or not. Rent, car payment, insurance, phone bill, subscriptions, minimum debt payments. One fixed cost is normal. Too many fixed costs make you fragile. A lot of young people get their first decent paycheck and immediately build a life that uses the whole thing: better apartment, nicer car, more eating out, upgraded phone, a few subscriptions, trips, clothes, payments. None of those things are evil by themselves. The problem is that they quietly remove your options. If your paycheck is already spoken for before the month starts, you cannot save much. You cannot invest much. You cannot leave a bad job easily. You cannot handle a surprise repair without stress. You cannot take a smart risk because your bills need you to keep running on the same treadmill. So, early on, be careful with anything that turns into a monthly payment, especially cars. A car can be necessary. A large car payment in your 20s can be a financial anchor. It feels normal because everyone has one, but normal can still be expensive. The fourth thing I would do is build boring saving habits before life gets complicated. Do not wait until you make a lot of money to learn how to save money. If you cannot save $10 from a small paycheck, you will not magically save $500 from a bigger one. The money changes, but the habit is the same. Build the muscle now. A simple system is enough. When money comes in, split it before you spend it. Some for spending, some for short-term savings, some for long-term investing if you are ready for that. Even if the amounts are tiny, the habit matters. Your first goal does not need to be a perfect 6-month emergency fund. Start with $500, then $1,000, enough that a flat tire or surprise bill is annoying instead of devastating. That small cushion changes how life feels. The fifth thing I would do is start investing earlier than feels impressive. When you are young, the advantage is not that you have a lot of money. Most people do not. The advantage is time. Here is a simple example. If someone invests $100 a month from age 20 to 65 and earns an average annual return of 7%, they would end up with roughly $379,000. If they start at 25, it is roughly $262,000. If they start at 30, it is roughly $180,000. That is not a promise. Markets do not move in a straight line, and future returns are never guaranteed. Your investments should fit your goals, timeline, and risk tolerance, but the lesson is still important. Starting small can matter because time does some of the work. Forget chasing hot stocks or acting like a finance bro. For most normal people, the early win is learning the habit. Invest consistently, diversify, keep costs low, and do not panic every time the market moves. The sixth thing I would do is protect my credit without worshiping credit cards. A good credit score can help with apartments, loans, and interest rates, but credit cards are also one of the easiest ways to make your future paycheck pay for your past decisions. So, the rule is simple. If you use a credit card, pay the full balance every month. If you cannot do that, the points are not worth it. Rewards can make people feel smart while interest quietly destroys the math. A card that gives you 2% back is not helping if you are paying 20% interest. The seventh thing I would do is test careers before betting everything on one. Do not just imagine the job. Get closer to it. Shadow someone. Ask people what their workday is actually like. Watch interviews. Do a small project. Take an intro class. Try an internship. Work near the industry. Talk to people who are 3 years ahead of you, not just people who already made it to the top. Most career advice comes from people who made it, and they can forget everyone who tried the same path and hated it. You want the honest version. What is the work really like? What is annoying about it? What kind of person does well? What does entry level actually pay? How long does it take to move up? Is the field growing, shrinking, or changing? The earlier you learn that, the less expensive your mistakes become. And that is really the theme of all of this. When you are young, you are going to make mistakes. Everyone does. The trick is to make small, cheap mistakes before life gets expensive. Work a job and learn what you hate. Take a class before committing to a major. Save a little before emergencies arrive. Invest small before you feel ready. Avoid payments that trap you. Build credit without carrying debt. None of this guarantees a perfect life, but it gives you something better than pretending everything will magically work out. It gives you options. And when adulthood gets expensive, options are everything. Production notes, visual cues, opening, overwhelmed young adult surrounded by adult expense labels, rent, insurance, food, car, loans, emergencies. Part-time job, teen at counter, retail, restaurant with badges for communication, reliability, pressure, confidence. Education math, split screen, college is always worth it versus college is a scam. Then a clear decision board, cost, pay, growth, debt, fit. Career stats, simple BLS style cards for software, nursing, finance, engineering, electrician. Fixed costs, bills becoming chains or locks, car payment as an anchor. Saving habit, money split into 3 jars, spending, savings, investing. Investing, timeline chart for starting at 20 versus 25 versus 30. Credit, rewards, points on one side, interest monster, eating points on the other. Career testing, doors, lab, class, internship, shadowing montage. Ending, Options are everything over doors opening. Dr. Stam Source Notes. BLS Career Outlook Education Pays 2024. Education is generally associated with higher earnings and lower unemployment. Less than high school workers had 6.2% unemployment and $738 median weekly earnings in 2024. BLS Occupational Outlook. Handbook, software developers, QA testers, registered nurses, financial analysts, electrical electronics engineers, electricians. BLS Career Outlook Teen Summer Employment, Common Teen Jobs and Skill Building Context, U.S. Department of Labor, Youth Rules, Younger Worker Restrictions and State Law Caveat. Vanguard Investing Education, Asset Allocation should depend on goals, timeline, risk tolerance, diversification, and rebalancing matter. Past returns are not guaranteed. Compound growth examples are illustrative only, using $100 month and a 7% average annual return.